Hey, what's going on, guys? If you're watching this video, you are likely looking to get some tips on how to interview well for your medical school interview. And if you are watching this video, I am either assuming you already got the interview and you're just trying to get yourself prepared, or maybe you have not gotten your first interview yet and you're just thinking way far in advance. I'll tell you that for me, I personally started practicing for my interview, I want to say maybe 3-4 months before I even submitted my MCAS application. Well, now, why would I do that? Honestly, I was just practicing because I wanted to give myself the confidence boost to tell myself that if and when I got my first interview, I would be more than prepared. So it's perfectly fine to watch this video at any point in time in your medical school journey. Just get yourself thinking ahead of time. Even if you're 2-3 years in advance, still start practicing. What are those interview answers? Because those answers in your interview are going to help you get to the position that you want to, which in this case is hopefully to become a physician. So the first tip I want to say is you need to dress the part. And when I say dress the part, I'm not talking about wearing fancy clothes, a fancy suit, fancy jewelry, watch, necklace, all that. No. I am talking about dressing the part of a professional, meaning whatever you wear, whatever attire you choose to put on that day for your interview, it needs to be clean, it needs to be cut, it needs to be sharp, okay? It needs to be considered what you think is your best. Because at the end of the day, what you wear is is going to be your first impression, right? When I see a candidate that's applying for medical school or any position in general, I'm looking at what they are wearing, because what they are wearing lets me know how seriously are they taking this. Are their clothes are her clothes maybe wrinkled? Is there like a bunch of stains on it? Are they like, shirts unbuttoned, pants unbuttoned, shoelaces untied? It just lets me know like how seriously are you taking this interview in the first place. And I know everyone knows you need to dress professional, but I just want to emphasize you need to, okay? If you're gonna choose not to wear a tie, that's perfectly fine. I've seen people not do it before, but just make sure you look sharp no matter what you are wearing, and that is the goal. We don't care how expensive your suit is. We don't care how expensive your shirt, your shoes, anything. We're not looking at the type of watch you carry. No, we just want to make sure that whatever you're wearing, it looks well put together, that you actually thought and put in some time and effort into choosing your outfit to come here and look presentable on this interview day. The next tip I would say is you need to be nice to everyone. And obviously people say, yeah, I'm always nice, I'm not going to be rude to anybody, but I'm not just talking about the people interviewing you. I'm speaking more specifically to everyone you interact with. The moment you walk into the office or the building or the hospital, you are going to be getting judged, okay? At the end of the day, if you come to me as an interviewee and I'm supposed to interview you, of course you're going to try to be nice to me, but the fact of the matter is I don't know you. Okay, I'm not really comfortable with you. I'm trying to get comfortable. I'm trying to get to know you. That's the point of the interview. But I really don't know you too much. I can't really, go off of whatever you're telling me because I just met you 30 seconds ago, 10 minutes ago, 15 minutes ago, right? But guess who I do know? I know the security guard that let you in. I know the front desk receptionist that introduced you and gave you a name tag, gave you the details you needed. I know the secretary that let me know that you were here, ready for an interview. I know the janitor that maybe picked up or cleaned the trash bag that was in the room while you were sitting there, right? Any one of those people, no matter who you interact with, they can talk to me. I've been working with them for years and years, and so I trust their judgment. So if they tell me, hey, this candidate right here in the blue shirt, this candidate right here in the black dress, I think they're a very nice person. They seem very lovely. I'm going to take that into consideration. We talk amongst ourselves, not just the people who are doing the interviews, but the people who are working around those who are actually interviewing. And so if you can make a good impression on those people, it will take you really, really far. I'll tell you an example. There was a candidate one time who was very, very nice. We love this person completely. However, this person was rude to everyone that was not a physician or everyone that was not directly under the medical staff care, right? So it was very disheartening when we heard that they were being very disrespectful to the security outside, and then the secretary, who was pretty much trying to introduce, trying to make small talk, and was pretty much waving them off like, I don't have time for this, I have an interview today, can you please leave me alone? Like, that was very, very rude. And I was shocked too, because during the interview, this person was like amazing, like really, really good, but they were just so rude that I couldn't even fathom, accepting a student in this for this institution when they don't know how to treat other people with common decency. So all this is being tracked. So you need to be wary of who you are talking to and how you're interacting with them the entire day you are doing the interview. The next tip I would say is you need to practice your tell me about yourself. That is like the most common interview question, and everyone thinks it's so basic, but it's truly not basic. The tell me about yourself interview question is really the opportunity for you to control the narrative. This is your opportunity for you to say whatever is on your mind, whatever it is that you want to let us know about you that you maybe couldn't have fit in your application or your resume, or maybe there was too many words for you to describe this. that you didn't put that in your application initially, right? When I sit down and say, okay, tell me about yourself. Who are you? You can tell me anything you want. And to be fair, any follow-up questions I have, any interview topics that I want to discuss later on, it's going to be based off of what you are telling me in that tell me about yourself interview. Tell me about yourself answer, right? There have been times where I have 10 minutes to interview somebody, and first question I would say, tell me about yourself. And in that tell me about yourself, they talk for about 2, 3 minutes and they give me so much information about themselves that I'm like, you know what, screw the other questions. Let me know more about this because this is interesting. This is letting me know what you value and what you prioritize. And this is letting me know what I really need to know about you, how you view yourself. So that tell me about yourself answer is your way for you to set the tone. We're never going to cut you short unless, of course, you're talking like for over 5, 6, 7 minutes. Maybe we might cut you short. But for the most part, we give you free reigns. Tell us whatever you want. You're going to ask us, tell me about myself. What would you like to know? Anything you'd like to tell me, really, because whatever you tell me is going to stick in my mind and it's something I'm going to follow up with later on. Or when I'm deciding, how I'm going to score you for that interview, I can think back to what you told me as some talking points. So if you tell me about yourself, and you say something like, oh, I was a zookeeper and blah, 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 blah. I'm like, wow, a zookeeper who's now wants to become a physician. I've never, this is interesting. Tell me more about this. And so if I'm moving forward, whenever I try to think of your name, I'm attaching it to the fact that you told me you were a zookeeper. That's so random. That's so far off. That's so different, but it sticks in my mind and it keeps playing in my mind. So now I actually remember who you are, because I could have been interviewing hundreds of people this cycle, right? But because you gave me something so interesting, something so different, something so personal to you, I'm going to keep that notion in my head and I'm going to be more likely to remember who you are when it comes to grading. And it could be a false sense of likeness. Like I might trick myself into thinking you're a better applicant, but really you're just on my mind because you gave me something so random. So please be careful what you choose as your tell me about yourself topic of discussion. You can tell me about a story where you traveled across the world backpacking, right? That is an interesting story. Most people, when they say tell me about yourself, they stick to their personal life. They say, this is my mom, my dad, my siblings, I came here, and they go straight into the academics. We have all your academics, so we really don't need any more. But if you want to let us know, sure, that's fine. But try to think of something interesting that makes you stand out from all the other applicants, because that's how we're going to remember you. The next interview tip is going to be to utilize your emotions to bring us into your reality. Kind of like a mouthful. I'll say it again. Utilize your emotions to bring us into your reality. If you tell me about a story that made you want to become a physician because maybe you were hurt or shocked or scared about a certain scenario in your life, do not be afraid to use emotions. Obviously, you don't need to be a class A actor, but you need to, when you're telling me the story, allow me to feel what you felt in that moment. Allow me to understand your thought process as you're going through these experiences. I want to get a front door pass to walk right into your life and understand and envision what it is that you went through that gave you the epiphany that this is what you want to do moving forward, that you want to become a physician, right? A lot of people tell me great stories of why they want to become a physician or just about themselves in general, what made them decide, they want to go this route for medicine versus this route, traditional versus non-traditional, why apply to this medical school versus this medical school. The thing is, sometimes they don't give me emotion. They just tell me the story. It's like you're just putting a bunch of words but not connecting the dots. Feel free to use emotion. When I talk, I sometimes use my hands. That's perfectly fine, using your hands. You can say stuff like, you're really sad, but my grandfather was in the hospital, and it was really tough. I honestly, when I first heard about it, I didn't really know what to think. Yeah, I was a kid. I was young. I was scared. It was my first time ever meeting a physician, and lo and behold, they're telling me that my grandfather is sick. Someone that was just a week ago, playing basketball with me outside. And it's like, I don't know. Like, it was very, you see what I'm saying? Like, I'm not just telling you, hey, yeah, my grandfather was sick, and I realized that his physician had a very big burden, a big role to play in his life, and I want to become a physician. No, I'm giving you some story. I'm pausing a little bit. I could probably do a separate video with a lot better dramatic effect, whatever you want to call it. But the point is, you need to walk me through your story. Take pauses. Show the uncertainty of how you're feeling. Walk me through it. Okay, walk me through your life so I understand why it is you do the things you do. You think the way you think. You say the things you say. Allow me to know why you want the things you want. And you have to do this through the interview, right? We at the point where it's 2025 currently, we know that people practice these things. We know a lot of these interview things can be scripted. So the point is, we can expect it, but we don't necessarily want that to be the case. We want you to be honestly speaking your truth. So don't be afraid. People say don't say or don't be looking around. Don't be kind of like fidget. No. It's perfectly fine. It's normal. It's natural. We all do it. If someone sat down and gave me a perfect answer without a single mess up, no look away, direct answer, I'd be a little scared and concerned. I'm like, how much did you practice that? Like how well did you memorize it? Is that even your answer? Somebody, because in real life that's not how life works, right? People, fidget a little bit, they pause, they take breaks, they mess up words. That's perfectly fine. Now don't do it too much. Don't say every single, sentence. But, be casual, be natural. That way I know you're not fooling me, you're not pulling a fast one, and I know you're speaking your absolute truth. I guess the last step I want to say is you need to interview the interviewer. Okay. And this is my favorite thing to do. Every time somebody asks me, do you have any questions for me? Oh, hey, well, that's all the questions I have for you. Is there anything you would like to know? One, the only time you are wrong is if you say nothing. You're like, no, I don't have any questions for you. You've answered everything. Thank you so much. And that's like, are you just saying that because you didn't really pay attention? Do you think you just know everything? Like I would say that shows that it kind of gives off like, lack of interest, to be fair, because there's always something you can ask, right? If you don't know what to ask, here's my trick. Always interview the interviewer. Ask them about themselves. If there's one thing that I've learned about people in general is everyone loves talking about themselves. You can never go wrong. No one will say, I hate talking about myself. Even the people who say that love talking about themselves. So what I do in these interview situations is I ask the interviewer a question about themselves. So say I'm interviewing to become a physician at a hospital, and this is a physician at a hospital. I'll say, so I see that you're a physician in this hospital and you've kind of been in my footsteps. How do you like the path that you've chosen? Do you have any regrets? Do you regret choosing this school, for instance? Would you have done something differently? How did you feel? How did you feel when you were in my shoes versus now when you are already done and far off and now interviewing people that were once in the position that you were in? Tell me about that. Do you have any regrets? How do your family feel about the decision you made to pursue medicine? Flip the question on them. If it's even a regular job, or maybe you're going into the medical school and it's like maybe you're interviewing maybe one of the program directors who's usually program directors are usually physicians, but say you're interviewing someone who's not maybe a physician directly and you're interviewing them for the medical school, but maybe they're a coordinator or maybe they work in research or they're a PhD, but not actually like a physician. Ask them, how is it working with this school? Do you see, when you see the medical students, how do they interact with you? Do you feel like you're in the vicinity of good people that are going to be training to take care of you when you potentially may be sick? Like, how do you feel? Talk about that, because when you get people talking about themselves, guess what? They start to reflect on their own life. And a lot of times that reflection brings a false sense of euphoria. It makes them think, I remember when I did this and this was my goal and blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. And they start getting happy. They start getting excited. They start going, oh, man, I remember my best friend in medical school, or my best friend. I remember the first medical student that did this to me. It was so nice, blah, blah, blah. That false sense of euphoria, guess what? It's going to get applied to you because you asked the question. When you leave afterwards, they're going to be sitting there like, wow, it's been 5 years since I spoke to that person. I need to reach out to them. We should catch up. Yeah, we're going to have a great time. They're going to relate that to you because you asked the question. Always ask interviewers the questions about themselves and how they feel, whether being in the position that you're applying for or working around people that are in the position that you are applying for, because it's something easy that anybody can answer. And it lets you know, it gives them that full sense of euphoria that they can apply to you. And obviously, if you have questions specifically that you want to ask about the program or whatever, go ahead, ask that. It's no problem. But do not forget to interview the interviewer. That's one of my best techniques, and I use it every single time. I always ask them, tell me about you. Do you like what you're doing right now? Are you glad to have been working for this program and being in a position to interview me? How do you feel to be interviewing all these students, and you probably have a lot of great ones, and how do you choose or determine which is the best one? Ask them, ask whatever. As long as they're answering in their own words and you're asking a question directly to them, I feel like you can't go wrong. But anyways, that's my quick breakdown on, how to ace the interview. Obviously, if there's any more questions or concerns, drop them down in the comments below. I'll have no issue responding. I respond to all my comments. And yeah, I'll check you guys in the next video. Don't forget to hit the like button and to subscribe. I'll catch you guys next time.